Hi, and welcome to the Comfy Red Couch. My name is Tracy, and I'm your host. Happy February. It is nice to be out of January and into a new month. I always love when April arrives, so I'm just counting down the days until spring. I know I don't want to wish away my crafting time, but I am not a fan of winter. And last night, it snowed some more in Toronto, and that's what it will do. So, of course, because it is February, it's going to keep snowing, and that's the way it's going to be. As I said, my name is Tracy, and I am your host, and I am Tracy RR on Ravelry. I am Comfy Red Couch on Instagram. There is the Comfy Red Couch group in Ravelry if you'd like to come on over and say hello. And this is the Comfy Red Couch channel. Welcome to anybody who's new to the podcast. In this podcast, I talk about knitting, I talk about tea, I sometimes share my works in progress, depending what they are, and I will always share my finished objects when I'm allowed to. So for anyone who is new, I do a lot of test knitting for Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade, and there's going to be a lot coming out in February, including one tomorrow. So that'll have to wait till next week's podcast, but I'm really, really excited to share the first Sock Society with you. It is off the needles. That was one of the things I went outside and took some photographs of in the snow today. So I'm really excited to start sharing that one. And then there's a couple of other ones that will be released in February as well that I'm definitely looking forward to sharing with you. For returning viewers, welcome back to the podcast. You know I always love having you here, and I hope that you have grabbed your cup of tea and your project of choice and that you've snuggled down with me and you're ready to talk about knitting and all those lovely crafty things. So let's start off with some tea time. And today I am just drinking out of my Anthropologie cat mug as the cat behind me has climbed up. I guess she must have known it was tea time. And I've got Scout beside me here, so we'll see how they get along. They're always a challenge to keep near each other. Today, I'm just drinking plain old Marks & Spencer tea. I made a huge mistake on a project I started yesterday, and I'm thinking it's because I did not have enough caffeine in my system. So today, I'm going to drink some caffeine, and once I've got the podcast edited and uploaded, I will then figure out what I'm going to do with the project that I cast on yesterday, because it was an epic mistake. So I'll tell you all about that in a little bit. But for now, it's tea time. Cheers. Here's to a fabulous week ahead, and I hope that you get lots of work done on your project and don't make epic fail mistakes like I did. So for now, nice warm tea. Let's get on with the podcast. On my favorite things this week, I've got 4 things to share with you, and the first one I'm going to share is an empty project bag. And this was the project bag that I had put my Sock Society 1 socks into, and they were photographed this morning out in the snow. And all that's in this bag is the leftover yarn. So this is Cauldron of Colors Sleeping Beauty, and this is 26 grams left over from the 100 gram skein. So I used 74 grams to knit the pair of socks. And for now, the project bag remains empty. And in fact, because I was out in the snow and it's very wet snow today, the socks were a little bit damp, so I've put them up on by the rad so they can dry out a little bit, and then I will have them to put back in here for next week to share with you. And in the meantime, I have taken some photographs, and they will go on Instagram tomorrow, and also on my project page on Ravelry, so that you can see what they look like. They are beautiful, and I won't wear them until after I've shown them on the podcast, so a whole week before I can wear my brand new socks. That is rough. So that's one project that I was going to talk about. The next project is in my lovely So Sweet Violet case, and I took this with me on Thursday. We had to go for a bit of a car ride, so on my way to where we were going, I finished my Sock Society socks, and I was hoping I was going to have a chance to work on these, and I did not. However, I did start on Friday night my second sock, and these are the Wildflowers and Honeycomb. Last week I shared that I had a hoe I've started the second sock, so we'll see how long it takes. I'll probably take it to work with me and do a little bit of work as the week progresses, although it's going to be a busy week ahead, so I'm not sure how much I will get done on this, but I will try my best to get at least a little bit done. So that is what is in my lovely So Sweet Violet case. The next project that I'm going to talk about is in my lovely custom-made bird leg bags. Vicky from Bird Leg Bags made this lovely, lovely bag for me. It's got gold on it, just lovely, and I thought this was going to be the perfect bag for this project because this is a project I've been wanting to cast on for a very, very long time, and I finally did. So yesterday I cast on Brioche Ponchology, hard to say, and instead of actually reading the directions, I looked at the picture and just assumed that the first color I was going to cast on was the one that I had the most yarn, which was the dark blue, because I tried to match up my colors to close to what Suzanne Sommer had used in her sample. Yeah, that didn't work so well. So these are the colors I'm using. So this is my navy. This is going to be the color that is used the most. I have 6 skeins of this. I have 2 skeins of this lovely turquoise. I have 4 skeins of this beige. And I have 3 skeins of this lovely pink. So these are my colors. And this is Blue Sky Fibers, and it is wool stock. So I bought enough yarn to make the shawl as written, but of course, because I bought it a year and a half ago, I didn't buy extra, and I've made an epic mistake with my shawl. So as I said, what I did was I looked at the picture and just assumed rather than actually reading directions, which was never a good thing to do. So I cast on in my main color. I've got a beautiful I-cord cast on. I'm really thrilled with how this is going. And I was able to get down to the shoulders where the first brioche color, 2-color brioche section is going to be worked. I grabbed the instructions and looked and thought, well, that doesn't make sense. Why is the dark blue going in the front and not the light blue? Well, what I was supposed to have done was to have cast on and done this whole section in this color rather than in the navy. Yes. So right now I'm trying to decide, do I tear all of my work from yesterday, which is beautiful, and I think the navy would look really, really nice. Do I tear it all back and start over? And also, this would look nice too, I think. Or do I go maybe to the yarn store, buy some more of the wool stock, and just redesign my colors? So maybe I would go with a dark gray as my color B, because this was supposed to be my color B, and I just cast it on as color A. Color A. Anyway, I have to decide whether I am going to keep the blue and just change my colors out a little bit, or rip back, start again, hope that I have enough yarn at the end of it all, and go with the turquoise. So I'm just not sure what to do. I could also just sort of play around with the brioche and move the colors where I want them, follow the pattern as is, but then just sort of change out my colors when I want rather than when I need to. But epic fail. However, my brioche is looking great. I've learned some more new stitches, and I am thrilled with how this is looking so far. Just the problem is I need to learn to read the directions, which is kind of funny considering I am a test knitter and that's usually what I do. Except for when it comes to projects that are for me. Anyway, I will figure it all out, and whether that is a run over to Uknit because they also sell the wool stock, and maybe buying some dark gray to become this color. Maybe seeing if they actually have the same dye lot that I bought when I was at the Needle Emporium, because that's where this wool was originally purchased. It's always a possibility they may have the same dye lot. Anyway, that was my epic fail. But I don't know. Be interesting to know what you would do. Would you frog it all back and start back with the proper color, or would you then just sort of make it work with the colors you have, or would you go and change some yarn and maybe choose some different colors? Love to hear what you think on my Ravelry page, but you can even message me on Instagram. What should I do with this project? Anyway, I will think on it a little bit more, and probably next week I'll update you as to what I decided. But for now, this will go into my beautiful bird legs bag while I contemplate how to write the state of my knitting. So I do love my colors, although I tend to love these three more than the beige. I wouldn't mind maybe throwing a gray in instead, so I might just call over to Uknit and see if they've got the same dye lots, or I did notice last night on their website they had the gray, so maybe I will just pick up some gray and keep this as is, put the gray in as color B. If they had the same dye lot in this, I would be very, very happy, but I will figure it out because this will be my new design feature, and whether I decide to rip back and actually go back to the way it is in the pattern, or whether I create my own color scheme, that's the fun of knitting, I suppose. Yes. The final thing I have to share on my favorite things this week is a finished object, and it is my All About That Brioche Shawl. And this is a shawl that I made for my son Isaac, and I used Once Upon a Corgi in their Isaac base. So this is Lemony Snicket, and lots of fun with those little turquoise pops. And then at the bottom here, this is Nice Guys Finish Dead. And again, Isaac base, 100% Polworth. And I have named this shawl All About That Base, B-A-S-E, because this is a gift for my son Isaac, made with Isaac yarn. It is all about that base. It's all about Isaac. So this is his shawl. He is very excited to finally get it. He saw it on the blocking mat last night and said, "My shawl is done." And I said, "Yes, you can have it after the podcast, after I have photographed it," which I did earlier today. And I've already put it up on Ravelry as a finished object. And yes, this is a fun bit of brioche shawl with a lot of garter. The only change that I did make to the pattern was the pattern calls to do 3 brioche repeats here, 3 brioche repeats here. I've only got 2 in each section because I was running low on yarn, and I did not want to run out of yarn and then be stuck in the second brioche section without enough yarn to finish the project properly. So I wanted to keep it fairly symmetrical with the 2 repeats and the 2 repeats, and that is the project. So Isaac will be very, very happy to finally get his shawl, and because we're in winter, he'll actually wear it, which is great. It was supposed to be for his birthday, which is in October, but other things came up, other tests came up, and when that happens, my projects go on the back burner. So that's sometimes how it is, and that's okay. So this is going to be for him when he gets home tonight, and he will be thrilled for sure. I really enjoyed using the Polworth. It was a little bit different than I'm used to. I'm usually a merino girl, so for me to use something a little bit toothier, a little rougher, not itchy scratchy, I don't think. I don't think it will irritate his skin, but it's definitely a little bit bouncier and different than the merino that I usually use. I really loved using the Lemony Snicket colorway. It was so much fun. I loved the little pops of turquoise throughout, and I know that Isaac is going to love it. And when the next season of A Series of Unfortunate Events comes out, I think that's going to be in March, I'm sure Isaac will be wearing this around his neck as we watch. But I know for now he's going to be thrilled to have a lovely gift just for him. He's been waiting quite a while for it, so nice, patient boy. That is all I have for my favorite things this week, and I'll let you know what happens with my big epic fail, what I decide to do with it. There's so many things I could do with it. We'll see. Maybe I don't want to go out and buy new yarn, but I just might. We'll see. Anyway, we will talk about that next week on my favorite things. This week there were a couple of lovely packages in the mail for me, and I am going to share them. Right now they are in my lovely fringe porter bag with my fun little hearts from Nora George. And there is some Nora George yarn in here. There are also some spoilers, so I'll be throwing up the alert in a little bit. But we'll start off with the yarn that is easily accessible. So if you are easily enabled, throw your device across the room, stay away from your computer, do whatever you have to do not to buy these yarns that, yes, they are still available. But do your best. I know, stay strong. But anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to share with you what I was not able to stay strong on. And that is Nora George. And this is Shrieking Shack. This is one of the Harry Potter inspired yarns. And I had a very, very hard time deciding whether to get this on Super Sock or the Sparkle base. And I went in the end with the Super Sock because you can never go wrong with Nora George yarn Super Sock. It is one of the softest bases and just such a lovely yarn to work with. So Shrieking Shack, lots and lots of fun. And we've been listening to the audiobooks of Harry Potter. We are finally nearing the end of the 7th book, which will be kind of sad when we finally end it because it has been a lovely time just sitting together and listening. But in the meantime, I've got my Harry Potter inspired yarns to keep me going after the audiobooks are done. So we probably will finish the audiobooks tonight or tomorrow night, and it has to go back to the library in 3 more days. So at least we only have a few more chapters to go, but it's been a lot of fun. The next Harry Potter inspired yarn I got was Hermione's ball gown, and I was very torn again. Super Sock or Sparkle base? As you can see, I went with both. So originally I had just gotten the Sparkle base, but then I decided I thought I would like to have just a regular Super Sock in my stash as well. So I'm not sure if you can see some of the sparkle on there is catching, but just beautiful on sparkle and definitely ball gown worthy, but also lovely on a regular sock base as well. So I could not resist. I was trying to decide whether to get Clementine, Sweet Clementine, which I shared last week, on sparkle, or Hermione on regular sock, and I ended up going with the regular sock. And this package arrived super, super quick. I think it was 4 days from England, so amazingly quick. Okay, we are now going into the full-on spoiler alert. So spoiler alert, turn away, run away, whatever you have to do if you do not want to have things spoiled for you. So I've got some Nora George clubs to share, and I also have a Homespun House Harry Potter to share with you. So if you don't want to know what they are, run away, hide. And I will start off with the Homespun House. And the Homespun House yarn for this month is the Night Bus. And it's an interesting sort of color. It's browns, greens, and pinks. And I'm thinking I might actually make Isaac a pair of socks out of this. When he was young, he had the Lego night bus, which I think is purple, but he always likes the night bus. So I may decide to make socks for him, although there is some pink and green in there, which is always one of my favorites. So we shall see. And so this is the night bus, and the charm that went along with the night bus is very, very cute and also night bus inspired. And it is Drayhead, who is the character that hangs on the night bus in the movie and cracks crazy jokes. So there is the yarn, there is the charm. Spoiler, 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 I hope you ran away if you did not want to see these. So these are two of my lovely yarns that came in, well, one of my lovely yarns and one of my lovely charms that came in the mail this week. I'm tripping over my tongue. The rest of my spoilers are from Nora George Yarns, and I am sharing the Great Characters of Literature, and I'm also sharing the Mrs. Weasley's Knit Club for January. So let's start off with the Sense and Sensibility character, and that is Eleanor Dashwood. And there is a beautiful skein, full skein, and then there is a lovely purple mini that goes along with Eleanor, and these are absolutely lovely, lovely. And I'm thinking this would be, if there was a one skein shawl that has a border on it, that would be really, really beautiful. I'll have to check through my stash. Or of course, cuffs, heels, and toes would also be very lovely. This would be wonderful on a second pair of dewdrop socks. So I'm thinking I might try to jump into the KAL that Tracy is hosting for her dewdrop socks right now. But such a short timeline, I'm not sure that I would be able to get them done. So look at that gorgeous little bit of pink and magenta in there. Anyway, that is one of the spoilers from the Great Characters of Literature. The next spoiler that I have to share is also from the Great Characters of Literature, and it is the Sense and Sensibility minis. And they are so spring-like. They are just perfect. And if you look at this mini here, it's got this little beautiful shot of pink with the green. Oh, if I could have a full skein of this, I would be so, so happy. But the minis are just wonderful, and it's like a little bouquet of flowers just before Valentine's Day. So just a perfect, perfect mix of colors, and oh, what to make with these. I'm thinking scrappy socks, but I also want to make this Bits and Bobs blanket. And I just, oh, these are just so fun. These would be a lovely pair of scrappy socks. The final thing that I'm going to share with you is the Mrs. Weasley's Knit Club January 2018, and Tracy based her inspiration on Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic from Harry Potter. And if you have sunglasses nearby, you may want to grab them because the mini is going to perhaps burn your retinas, so you will definitely want to be very careful when you watch this next segment. So the character, as I said, was Cornelius Fudge, and this skein is called Fudge's Bowler Hat. And so this is the skein of yarn that was part of the Mrs. Weasley's Knit Club, and it had a mini attached, but I will show that sort of separately because it is, as I said, it is out of this world. So the greens and sort of purpley plums that are there go so nicely. And then there is the mini, and the mini is phosphorescent. It is bright for sure, and definitely unexpected. When I opened the package, I thought this is unlike anything I've seen dyed by Tracy before. So Fudge's Bowler Hat, Fudge's Mini, and I'm not sure that I'll use this for cuffs, heels, and toes, but it will be fun to find a project that I will use it for. But definitely a lot of fun for the January Knit Club. So that is my final spoiler for the day. You can relax your eyes now. And that leaves me with an empty basket for brown paper packages. Now it's time for some bits and bobs, and this is the segment where I talk about things that are not necessarily knitting related. I did mention a little bit of what I'm going to talk about in my knitting segment, but we have been binge listening to the Harry Potter books on audiobook, and I think we're listening to the Jim Dale version, and it's just been so much fun. I love the voices that he uses as he creates the characters. I think Luna Lovegood is one of the favorite voices that he says it, like he just starts talking in Luna's voice and you know exactly which character is speaking. So it's been a lot of fun. And Nathaniel and Isaac and I have just enjoyed sitting down together and listening to the books. And Isaac sort of, he's, oh, I don't want to listen to it, but of course he always pops by to listen. So that's what 16-year-olds do. And once we are finished listening to the book, we probably will finish 7 either tonight or tomorrow. We can then start binge watching all of the movies. So it will be nice and we've already seen up to the end of The Prisoner of Azkaban, and 4, 5, 6, and both 7s will be on the agenda over the next weeks to come. And since Nathaniel is 8, what often happens with 8-year-olds is you watch it, and you watch it again, and again, and again. So I expect that Harry Potter will be playing for the next few months all of the different books. But I really did enjoy taking them out from the public library. And unfortunately, we were very limited to, we've got the 21 days, you've got to really power listen, and they all sort of arrived in my mailbox at the same time. So it was trying to power listen for a week at a time to get one book done, but it's been a lot of fun. So that's one of the things that has been happening this week on Bits and Bobs. The shower is finally done, so that's been a very long work in progress since August. So I was very happy to last night scrub out the remaining little bits of grout that needed to be washed away, and so now the boys can all have showers again, which will be nice without having to go to the gym. And it'll be nice to be able to choose between having a shower or a bath for myself. So definitely nice to have our first floor bathroom in full working order again. The boys are back to school. Nathaniel was off for most of last week. He finally went back to school on Friday. He is going to be doing The Wizard of Oz as his musical for school, so it was nice to hear him coming home and singing some of the songs that he's been learning from The Wizard of Oz. Isaac started his new semester on Friday. He's got some really fun classes ahead for him. He's got a personal fitness class, he has a set and design class, and then he has his double musical theater class. So I don't know what musical they'll be doing this year, but he is excited about his courses that he's going to take. And it's always good when you've got a 16-year-old that enjoys going to school and is enjoying the courses he's taking. So that's what's been going on with him. For me, I have been trying to avoid sickness because I do not want to get sick. I have been drinking orange juice and oil of oregano like it is going out of style. We ran out of orange juice the other day, so my throat was starting to get a little bit sore and I was in a panic mode because I did not want to get sick. So I had the oil of oregano on its own. So the eyedropper just, it burns. So I much prefer orange juice in it. So when I was out the other night, I bought some lots and lots of orange juice. Not some orange juice, lots and lots of orange juice, so that I could then make sure that I am staying at top health, because it is the busy season at work and I cannot get sick. So after Nathaniel and Greg were basically home for a week each, I can't afford that. So orange juice, oil of oregano, drinking it like it's going out of style. So I was actually going to have it for tea time today, but I decided, no, I might need some caffeine instead. So as soon as I finish the podcast, I'm going to drink some oil of oregano and some orange juice though. Anyway, that's all I've got for Bits and Bobs this week, and I'm sure the next week will be busy, as it always is, and I'll have lots to share next week too. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast this week. I always enjoy having you come spend some time with me, sit down, work on your project, enjoy some tea, or maybe you're drinking some orange juice and oil of oregano too. I don't know, whatever it is that you've been drinking. Anyway, I hope that you've had a chance to just sit down, unwind, relax, and that you are ready for the week ahead. I hope that you will avoid sickness. I hope I will avoid sickness. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the Comfy Red Couch when I get to share the Sock Society one. Hope to see you then. Bye. Orange juice, oil of oregano. What? And let's do an extra, just for good measure, because I do not want to get sick. To your health. Cheers. As long as it keeps me healthy.